Welcome to day one of your stock project. Hi, I'm just at home chilling in my Calvin College sweatshirt. I'm a dork, aren't I, wife? That's my wife back there. She loves me. But we're going to, if you've logged on to Moodle, you see our stock project. I figure I'll just run through day one, even though we actually have video of day one from last semester. But we're going to be creating a little spreadsheet in Excel, and by the end of this video, you're going to have created a spreadsheet that looks kind of like this, where you've got a whole bunch of companies that you're investing in, and we're keeping track of certain information about them. So, let's dive in. Our first step, of course, is going to be to open up a blank Excel spreadsheet. And what we're going to just do, we're first just going to start putting information in. We'll worry about making it look all nice a little bit later. But if I'm going to give it a title. I'm going to just call it my stock project. I'm going to put my name on here. And then I'm ready to get started. Now, each one of these rows, I'm going to store different types of data. I don't know if you saw that, but we just finished studying about Dave Ramsey, about saving and investing, and one thing we learned about, of course, was stocks. And if we're going to invest in stocks, what we're really investing in are companies. So one thing that I want to keep track of is, well, what companies I'm investing in. So, company name. Now, each company that is publicly traded, I've got a whole list of them here on our Moodle page if you want to start looking around and figuring out what companies you want to invest in. But you can find this at any financial website, whether it's Yahoo Finance or Wall Street Journal, like I've got here, Market Watch, CNN Money. There's tons of them. But you can look at these are all the companies that are publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and you'll notice each of them has this little symbol, and that's kind of how we differentiate each of the different companies. Some of our well-known companies, like a Ford. See if I can find Ford here quickly. You know what? I'll just do a Control F. Ford. Oops, Ford. Not Hartford. I'm looking for, actually, Ford. Ford Motor Company. Notice the symbol Ford is just, well, F. It was one of the original ones. Foot Locker is FL. GM is GM. So you get the idea. These little keys to help us differentiate each of these companies. So it's really important, and this will become really important a little later on too, that we keep track of the symbol. So I need a column for symbol. Now notice when I entered symbol, my column company name, the word name actually got cut off there. That's okay, we'll come back and fix that in just a minute. One of the other things I got to keep track of is the purchase date. What day am I buying these stocks? Because these prices are constantly fluctuating. And so, oops, I got a little error message here. Keep the current color scheme. So I got to keep track of what day I actually purchased these stocks. I'm going to quick look back at our example here for what we're trying to do. So you see we've got a spot for company name, symbol, purchase date. And like I said, each date, each stock has a different price. So we really need to keep track of that initial, go back to my spreadsheet, my initial share price, the initial price that I'm buying these stocks at. And then I need my initial investment. Now for this project I said you would get investment. You would get $10,000 and you're going to invest in 10 different companies, 10 different stocks. So you could split that up however you want. The easy way, of course, would be to put $1,000 in each company. But you could split that up. You know, you could put $9,000 in one company and $100 in each of the others. That actually only would be $9,900. So you could put $9,100 in one company and $100 in each of the other 9, and that would get you your $10,000 if you wanted for this project. But the other thing that we want to keep track of then is the number of shares that we can buy. So let's pause here for a second and make things look a little bit nicer. You notice, like we said before, all of our columns get cut off a little bit, our column names, but if I put my mouse, notice right where I'm putting my mouse, right between A and B, I get that little double arrow thing, and I can change the width of my column, whatever I want. But I can also quickly just double click, and it'll automatically resize my column width to be the right size for the title. So I'm going to quickly do that for each of these, just double clicking. And now I can see the full title of each of my columns. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually highlight stock project. I'm going to highlight those 6 cells, because what I'd like is for that title to be centered over all of this. So I'm going to just click here on this merge and center, and it takes those 6 cells and makes them one and puts my text right in the middle. I'm going to do the same thing for my name. Now I can change the format of this cell. You know, I can make maybe my text bold, make it a little bit bigger. I'll use this little fill bucket to change the background color. I might even change my text color. I think I'll make that white so it stands out nice. Then I'll do the same thing for my name. So, you know, make your spreadsheet look a little nice. I'll make it bold. That looks good. Now I've got some nice Detroit Tiger colors. I also want to make my titles bold, so I'm going to highlight this whole row by clicking on number 3 there, the row 3, and selecting bold. Now they're all bold. I'm also going to come down here to row 14. I think that's what I want. What do we got? 10 stocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So then I need my totals row. And same there, I want really my totals row to be in bold. So now I've got spots to start putting my companies. And for the purpose of this, I'm just going to use Lincoln stock. Lincoln's the company I used to work for, Lincoln Financial Group. Actually, they really go, I should call it Lincoln National Life. And I'm going to, again, resize it and make it fit for that. And I know the symbol for Lincoln is LNC. And the purchase date, I'll use today's date, which is 2/28/12. The initial share price, if I go back to, where did it go? There it is. I passed it. There we go. If I go back here and do search here, Lincoln National, there it is, LNC. I'm actually going to use this last closing price. Notice I've got the close price, the low price, the high price for the day, and what it opened at. And I'm just going to go with what it's closing at, because that's the price it ended at today. So I'm going to go with 25.11. My initial investment amount, like I said, it's probably easiest if I just do $1,000 in each. And so if I'm going to do that, I can actually, if you ever grab this bottom right hand corner, see how I get that black plus sign? If I grab that corner and drag it down, it'll actually copy everything for me. That dragging down actually does even some other cooler things that you'll see in just a minute here. Alright, so I've got $1,000. Now, if I'm buying stocks in the real world, I can only buy whole stocks. I can only buy one stock at a time. For the purpose of this project, I'll let you buy some partial stocks. So, how many stocks can I buy? Well, the reality is I can buy $1,000 divided by the price per stock. That'll give me how many I can actually buy. Nice thing about Excel here is it will actually calculate it for me. I don't have to go and pull out my trusty old calculator and try to figure it out. I can just go equals. Anytime you hit that equals button, you're telling Excel, hey, I need to calculate something. So this cell, I want it to equal, and I could type in 1,000 divided by 25.11, and it'll do it for me. Excel is just a great calculator. But even better is I can click initial investment, which told me the cell, whatever's in cell E4, divided by my share price. So everything, it's E4 divided by D4. The reason I want to do that, there's a couple of them. First of all, it's really nice if I'm like, oh, you know what, actually I wanted to invest $2,000 of my dollars into Lincoln. Notice how it quickly changed the amount of shares I bought, or maybe I wanted 1,500. Watch the number of shares there. It automatically calculates that for me. The other nice reason is, imagine I had a whole bunch of other stocks that I had already invested in, and whatever. I'm just going to give some random prices. Whatever. So I've got a whole bunch of other companies that I've invested in. Now, again, grabbing that bottom right-hand corner is going to copy the formula down for me. But not only that, notice how this cell was up here. It's E4, so it's that divided by D4. I can actually click on it and you'll see it colored. It was this blue one divided by this green one. Well, if I look at the next one down, it was smart enough to realize that I want E5 divided by D5. And so by just clicking on that corner and copying that formula down, it'll copy it all the way down. Now you'll notice I got a couple little error messages here. It's because there's nothing in this cell, and 1,000 divided by 0, well, if you remember from your math classes, you can't divide by 0. Doesn't matter, as soon as I put in a number, it'll fix it for me. Last thing that we want to get done today is we want to add up our initial investment and make sure that it actually equals 10,000. And now there are a couple ways to do this. First one is I can type in the formula. Equals, again, I always start formulas always with that equals, and I can type in the word sum and then put a parenthesis and select the things that I want to add up. That's how I used to do it. That's how I grew up doing it. You always typed in equals, sum. You know how to type in the formulas. Now you've got this insert function. If you click on that, you'll see these are the most recently used functions that I've used, but there's actually a ton of functions within Excel. But again, the one I want to use right now is sum, and it'll actually kind of pull it up like a little wizard here. Now, by default, it's smart enough to figure out that I want to add up E4 to E13, but I could tell it, hey, add up all of those numbers. Just click and drag, say OK, and it adds up. So now I could go around and play around with my initial investment amounts and change whatever I want. Just make sure that it still adds up to $10,000. The last way to do this is probably the easiest, and if you have a newer version of Excel, you can do this. Under formulas, there's this auto sum. Oftentimes it's smart enough to figure out exactly what we want to add up, and it has a couple of the other functions that you might often use. But if I click auto sum, it says, yep, is that the stuff I want to add up? It is. So I hit enter, and I've got my formula. For this assignment, you must use the formulas. I know you could just type in 10,000 there, but when you turn it in, I'm going to check to see if you actually used that sum formula, because I want you to get in the habit of making the computer do the math for you. So that's it for today. We'll pick it up here again in like 5 seconds because I'm going to record another one. But this was day 1. Day 2, we're going to add a little bit more detail to this, and we're going to start downloading the prices that we actually need. And day 3, we're going to add a few more columns as well. So join me next time.